In this video, we're going to be talking about getting help with Spring. So chances are, as you progress through the course, you are going to run into some problems. So let's talk about what to do when you encounter a problem. So the first thing, some basic troubleshooting. So you want to go through and try to determine the root cause of the problem. Read through the stack trace in the console, look for an error message. Often an error message will mean exactly what it says, like file not found. So if that's the error message, the file is not found where the program is looking. I've been sitting there looking at a system before where I get that error. I'm like, what? The file's right there. Why don't you see it? And then there's other times where I say that error message will mean exactly what it says. I get into an error, and sometimes it takes me a half hour to work through it. And then it's like I find the solution. I'm like, huh, that error did mean exactly what it said. So it gets me often when you're getting into a programming environment, you do run into errors, things do go wrong, and you do need to take time to do some basic troubleshooting. So when you're doing troubleshooting, one thing you want to do is change one thing at a time and then retest. This is very important. If you start changing multiple things, you could fix one thing and break another. And I've seen this happen where multiple changes, one change fixes it, but you introduce more than one and you wind up breaking it with the other one. So very, very important to change one thing at a time and then retest. And when you're retesting, also watch the error message because sometimes you have to go through several steps. So you might resolve one issue and then move down a little bit. It can be like peeling an onion to get through that to finally get some working code. Also, where appropriate, use the debugger. Get used to using the debugger in your IDE. Set a breakpoint, put it into debug mode, and then inspect the code to see what's really happening, see what the variables are being set to. This is a very useful step to see what's happening. Now, if you have a third-party library, if you're using like some type of dependency, a jar file, and the error is occurring within that, a good thing you can do is most IDEs will allow you to download the source, and then you can read that Java doc. A lot of times there will be comments in the Java doc that will help you resolve the issue. You might have some type of expectation or something that you need to set. You might be outside of some type of parameter. So if it's a third-party library, reading the Java doc for where the class that's having the error can be very helpful. And then I also like to say there is no shame in Googling. So I do this all the time. So if I run into an error and I'm having problems resolving it, I will Google it. Chances are you are not the first person to encounter that error. So go ahead and Google it. A lot of times the search results will give you a solution, or they will at least point you in the right direction. They'll help get you over that hump. And then in the course, check the Q&A for the lesson. As students progress through the course, chances are another person has encountered that problem, the question's been asked, and the solution is in Q&A. So that's a really good resource. Don't overlook that. If you're seeing a problem in a lesson, you're hitting a speed bump, check that Q&A. So a lot of times the solution will be there. Now, when you are reporting a problem, what you want to do is describe the error and provide details of the error message. So tell the person about the error message, describe what you're expecting to see, describe the expected results. Also describe how to reproduce the error. Ideally, you should be providing a link to your GitHub repository with directions on how to fail the code. This is very important. So the person that's going to help you troubleshoot is able to reproduce the error. So here's an example of reporting a problem. Hi, I'm getting a null pointer error when I'm saving a product. Here's a link to a GitHub gist with the full stack trace of the output. Here's a link to my GitHub repository. If you go into the source code and run the test product service save new product to reproduce it, you'll see the issue. So this gives the person reading the report of your problem not only a copy of your source code, but also directions how to reproduce it. So that way a more experienced person or someone who's trying to help can dive in, take a look at the problem, run it, and hopefully provide you a result or a correction to your problem. Now, when you are reporting a problem, be clear and specific about the problem. Provide the expected results. Provide a stack trace when applicable. GitHub has a feature called Gist. You can take your console output, copy and paste it into Gist and provide a link. Ideally, provide your source code, not just snippets. Having a full working project allows the person troubleshooting to see your entire project. Often that error could be from a stale library, an older library, some type of type incompatibility, or some type of configuration that you need to do. So a lot of times providing just code snippets isn't going to help the person troubleshoot it. Now, a few things not to do when reporting. Don't be vague. I've seen a lot of problem reports. Hi, I have a problem. Can you help me? Here's my GitHub. That doesn't tell the person anything. If a person's trying to help you, they don't have a lot to go on there. So help people understand what you're seeing and how to reproduce it. Unless really necessary, don't take screenshots of the error message. I see a lot of screenshots being posted. Often they don't provide a full picture of what's happening. And then occasionally I do see people posting pictures of their computer screen. Don't do this. It's impossible to read, and usually it's pretty useless. So don't take pictures of the computer screen and post those. Also, I see some people cut and paste the different class files and they put that into the issue. A lot of times that gives you part of the picture, but not the whole picture. So providing GitHub a complete repository of your project is much more effective. When relevant, it is okay to post code snippets depending on the situation, but usually having the complete GitHub repository is going to be the most effective to helping troubleshoot your issue. Now, where to report help for problems in this course? Use the lecture Q&A. Go to the lecture reporting Q&A or the Slack community. Both of these are going to be monitored by myself, my assistants, and other students do watch both Q&As and Slack. So a lot of times I might be sleeping. If you post it on Slack or in Q&A, someone responds to it before I wake up in the morning. So it's a great way to get help. If you're working on a Spring Framework project, a personal project, or a work project, for getting help with Spring, Stack Overflow is a great resource. Not only is there a community, but a lot of the Spring Framework committers do monitor Stack Overflow for issue reports, and they can provide you help there. Good community there. Now, if you're having issues with a specific Spring project, each Spring project is going to have GitHub repositories, and there will be issues there. Also, a lot of the Spring projects, not all of them, but a lot of them will have a Gitter account. It's kind of like a Slack. It's kind of like an online chat room where you can also report those issues. But again, for the course, please use Q&A or Slack. Again, these are public reports, so not only can you and I see it, but my assistants can see it and other students can see it. So quite often, posting in there, you will get a rapid resolution to your issues.